Yes and no. And I think I always call it a blessing and a curse, honestly. There are obvious, advantages to being a Guerrero because you have, like my family available for advice and help. And there is that, that expectation that Guerreros are, like we know our shit kind of thing, which is great. Yeah. It's also like a lot coming because I never wrestled before. And so I'm learning all of this new and I'm trying to do things like my dad. And then when it didn't come off like my dad, I would feel disappointed on multiple levels. And it was kind of a lot. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was kind of a lot. I had no idea what was in for me. It made me grow up a lot. And honestly, I'm happy how everything happened at WWE. And I'm happy I'm leaning into being a Guerrero now. Like, I'm leaning into, like, I'm going to own it. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to think I'm less than anymore. Like, I have just as much a right to learn this craft as any of my uncles did. Yep. And so, or my dad did. So but I'm going to do it my way. I have to stop trying to, be everything people want me to be because I will never be my dad. Like,
100%.
As much as correct. Yeah. Bring that to all of you. Like, I can do some amigos pretty good, but I'm not going to be at all. So I'm trying to etch my own little sliver in the Guerrero wrestling tree dynasty.
And I think that's a thing with a lot of second and third generation wrestlers as well. It's, and I think you saw that, in the late 90s when Ric Flair's son David came in to WCW, there was like a lot of expectation on him and a lot of pressure on him. And like I said, he wasn't able to live up to that expectation. Now Charlotte is definitely taking it to that next level. But, after speaking with a couple of different second and third generation wrestlers, one of the consensus that I get from them is having a name or having a parent or grandparent who's been in the business will get you that opportunity and get that foot in the door. But but it also means the eyes are on you a lot more. So if you don't get things straight away, then those opportunities start coming out from underneath your feet very, very quickly, as opposed to someone who isn't have a family background.
Oh, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. Like, I've never shied away from this. Like, I am well aware. Like, I got opportunity because of my last name, and I got the biggest opportunity for it, and I took it, and I'm thankful for it, and I am thankful. Like, doors are opening to me right now, like, because I'm a Guerrero, and I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, and believe me, I don't think it's right necessarily. Like, especially for people that have been busting their ass for way longer than me, and they haven't gotten an opportunity. And so that's going to be my job to make sure when I run into those talented people that, you make sure you're telling promoters about them and trying to help them out. But like, but it's both ways. It's like, yay, people want me to have a match, but it's like, they expect it to be 5 stars. And I'm like, okay, have a couple years, but we'll do our best. Kind of thing,
but that must be it just must be mind-boggling though to have that pressure and expectation on, and it must be exhausting though. Like, I can see why you would have to have taken that break just to sort of like really get some composure and perspective on life.
I appreciate you saying that. I think because I feel like I disappoint fans on the regular because I don't do it like dad, or I don't do it like this, or or a lot of things. Even like, I've had a lot of flack for doing burlesque or I don't know, like having my own mind about myself now, and not being a mini Eddie or a mini Vicky sometimes. And I just, it's hard. It is very hard. And I still have a lot of healing to do with, my relationship with WWE and how all that happened. And, I don't know. And just being a Guerrero, I think I kind of struggle with it a lot. That's probably why I'm very reserved. But, I'm working through it, and I'm trying to foster a healthy relationship with wrestling now, which is difficult. I'm not gonna lie, my husband can tell you I have like panic attacks on the regular before I go in the ring. Like, oh my God, all the pressure. He's like, there's no pressure. You're literally going to tear the fuck up. It's fine. And I'm just like,
But I think that really shows that your love for the business, though, that you are not that you're having panic attacks, but the fact that you have that nervousness. Like, if you were like, oh yeah, okay, I'm just going to go in there and do this thing in the ring and, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, then that would be, you know what I mean? That wouldn't be respectful for the world of professional wrestling. But the fact that you're going in there, like, and you've got that anxiety and that stress about it means that you want to do well and you want to live up to that expectation. But as you said before, you know, you're not Eddie Guerrero, you're not Vicky Guerrero, you're Shaul Guerrero. You're your own human being. And I think that, yeah, and I think wrestling fans can be very, very petty a lot of the time.
I was going to say that.
Correct. You know what I mean?
I didn't say it.
Correct. I was going to say the exact same thing.
I don't give a fuck. I will shoot on fucking wrestling fans. Like, no, I just think that wrestling fans, I think they don't understand that sometimes, and I think I think it's probably a disconnect.
Struggle to separate it.
Because what they see on TV is like, you're Eddie's daughter, you should be able to do exactly what he's done. But, you know, never mind the fact that he wrestled for 20 years and has been in Japan and Germany and Mexico and, you know, had done all these experiences. It's like, you possibly haven't had those same experiences, so there's no way for you to be on that same level.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate you saying that. Like, my dad did have a very different upbringing than me. And I'm not going to lie, my parents didn't want me to initially wrestle because they knew how hard of a business it is, like emotionally, mentally, like it's just, it's a lot for someone to take on. And I think my dad knew at the time, like he saw how women were treated too. I don't think he wanted me to be subjected to it. And so, but you know what, you're right. And like, I get told on the regular, we need you to care less. Try and not care. That way you can go out, like, and because like my amount of not caring is kind of like the right amount. They're like, you're gonna care too much about this. So we need you to try and have fun. Like, just try and have fun right now. Like, let's try and just focus on having fun. And then I usually perform way better when that's the case. And I'm not overthinking everything and hyper paranoid about being perfect. So, but Dad had a different upbringing. He was wrestling since he was a kid. Like, that was just like the baseline. They had a wrestling ring in the backyard and whatnot.
That's like every wrestling fan's dream as a kid.
Legit. I built mine when I was a kid.
Yeah, so.
So you mentioned that your mum, when she started working for WWE, felt a little bit uncomfortable backstage. When you went in there and started obviously growing up around the WWE backstage area, did you feel any kind of heat on you for coming in being the second, third generation performer from other talent, or was it a different? Because I think around that time they saw a lot of there was quite a few second and third generation talents coming in around that era, I should say. But did you feel any pressure from other people, or did you feel any heat from anyone else?
You know what? Like, I wouldn't call it heat. I mean, I was very much welcomed into the family right away, and maybe I'm sure that was weird for some people. Like, who's this bitch walking in? You know, like, she knows everything. And I'm like, but I did. I knew a lot of people because I grew up with the WWE family, and